Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I apologize for not going live all day. I actually ran over my fiber optic line today when I was mowing my lawn unwittingly. There also happened to be an outage nearby, so when I first called and I heard the outage, I left it alone. And then when I didn't have it hours later, I gave them a call. They said it was weird when it went out, and it turns up the line came up through the yard. And when I was mowing the lawn, trying to get after it bright and early, my internet went out. So we didn't get it back till late afternoon. And I thought to myself, I want to do this video on Luc Montagnier, this whole situation of COVID-19 84, and it coming from a laboratory. And I want to make this very, very clear, okay? This, to me, does not necessarily mean it leaked out of the Wuhan lab. Let me repeat that. From the very beginning, I have said this whole leak hypothesis, or that it necessarily came from the Wuhan lab in particular, is a narrative that I am not necessarily subscribing to. The narrative that I continue to subscribe to is that this is a biologically created agent, hands down. And everything that I've seen, the thing that pinpoints that for me is not just how much it spread, not just the weird things like the after effects, the no taste, no smell, odd stuff there. None of that. But the HIV sequence inside. HIV's very shady history. And then the warnings we were given by Forbes and others that we may be more susceptible to HIV after taking their boop, and then in the trials, people coming up with false HIV positives. All that screamed to me throughout. And no one was really able to say, debunk the idea that that was there. And Luc Montagnier, who is the man in the thumbnail, he originally talked about this over a year ago, and that's what really sold me on it. Okay, that he said, no doubt it came out of a lab. And then he also mentioned something else. He said that he believes they may have been working on an HIV vaccine because the vector is there. Okay, now there's a new interview with him, and I think it's really important that we play a lot of it, but we can only play so much on YouTube. So yes, there's going to be a complete uncensored portion, and it's an important portion because he talks about, a lot of people have seen the 2-minute clip where he's making a claim about variants, right? But there's also a hoax post going around that admittedly even I reported on in the second half of Mixed Martial Mindset. I'm glad it's a hoax post. And it was by looking up whether the fact checks on that were real that I found this 20-minute interview with him. And, basically I did the auto-translate. French has a lot of similarities to English, so you can tell that the auto-translate is somewhat correct. We're going to be going over that. But he reiterates several times in this interview that HIV insert is there. It is absolutely from a lab in his opinion. All right? And then he does give his views, his true views, not that everybody's going to die in 2 years that have taken it. The burn the bodies thing is fake that's going around social media, guys. We're going to get to that. But then we're also going to look at other fact checks that are just Johnny nonsense, okay? So we got so much to go over. Thumbs this up, subscribe, and share. I want to I'll let people know, we're at 61K. Been stuck there for a long time now on YouTube. That's all right. That's all right, Burmis Brigade. We finally find out that we're harmful content, by the way. I mean, that's kind of hilarious that we're harmful content. Now, they won't point to what's harmful. That's why we're at the Rockfin. So, like I said, we're going to have another uncensored video. This is it. And by the end, I'll let you know when we're going over to Rockfin because there's just certain things we can't talk about here anymore. Odyssey, thank you so much for following me there as well. And thank you for backing up my channel. All the documentary films are free. Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade, the motion picture. Let's get into it, okay? So with the HIV thing, oh, by the way, I wanted to mention this. Now, totally unrelated, apparently. I want to make that clear. I'm not claiming anything otherwise. Let me repeat that. I'm not claiming there's anything nefarious here whatsoever. But it should be noted that the very first man, he's an 81-year-old man named William Shakespeare, who took a woman had taken it before him, but this is the very first guy in University Hospital out in the UK that took it, and he is now not with us anymore. I just want to point that out. Rest in peace, my friend. Okay? So, take a look. This is the one that's going around everywhere. And you know what? I'm going to just play it with no sound. But again, it seems like this is pretty accurate, okay? And I'm not making this claim. And he's talking about using this mass boop program and how it's creating variants, all right? And then I'm going to show you the fact check on that because I think that's important, okay? So as you can see, he's asking whether we should be doing this. And he says that people are just being silent, okay? He says, basically you're going to, excuse me, you're going to see it here. He's calling it antibody-dependent enhancement, which means antibodies favor a certain infection. The antibody attaches to the virus from the moment it has the receptors. The antibodies, we have them in the macrophage, etc. It pokes the virus, and not accidentally, but because of the fact that they're linked to the antibodies. It is clear that the new variants are created by antibody-mediated selection due to the okay? So there it is. So that's the one that's going around everywhere. And here's the right fact check. See, people have now attributed this whole thing with, everybody's going to die in 2 years to this guy. That is not true. And I think that is to take away from the fact that he was talking about this HIV thing from the very beginning. From the very beginning. This is October. And one of the long-term effects, we don't know yet. And he talks about the possibility of long-term effects over a 10-year time period in this other video that we're going to get to. And really, we're going to have to play a lot of it over there because, again, we're so restricted in YouTube. But before we get there and this whole fact-checking phenomenon, right? Because now you're allowed to talk about it being from a lab, et cetera, I want to play this clip because they fact-checked the American Red Cross story, but it's the craziest fact check ever. Fact check. Now let me read this right here. Red Cross is accepting plasma from people booped against COVID-19. But here's the thing. they go through and, convalescent plasma, they're not. Okay? I mean, so let's play this. And they're not disputing this very important part that's said in this news piece.
COVID-19 vaccine. You're going to want to listen to this. The Red Cross says anyone who has received their COVID-19 vaccine cannot donate convalescent plasma to help other COVID-19 patients in hospitals. That plasma is made up of antibodies from people who have recovered from the virus, but the vaccine wipes out those antibodies, making the convalescent plasma ineffective in treating other COVID-19 patients.
So let me just stop that there. All of that is true. And the fact check even says it's true, but they deceive you because they take out the convalescent part and they say they're taking plasma. Let me read this. This is the times where, but they realize the average gerbil-brained human doesn't get past see, there's the fact check, Jason. The American Red Cross confirmed to Reuters that they are allowing people who have received, to donate plasma, the liquid component of blood here, contrary to claims on social media that this plasma is not being accepted because the thing is untested. No. Again, and they draw a straw man argument. Actually, they're telling you they're not taking the convalescent plasma because your natural immunity is being killed. The confusion may have arisen over the Red Cross's policy on convalescent plasma, meaning plasma that has the COVID-19 antibodies after recent infection and can be used as a treatment for COVID-19 infection. The American Red Cross current policy is to only accept convalescent plasma donations from people who have recovered from COVID-19 and have not had the vaccine. So again, everything I just showed you true, okay, everything. And there's still that headline, and then the rest of it, it gets crazier. Although if plasma donated by people vaccinated against COVID-19 has a high level of COVID-19 antibodies, it may be used as convalescent plasma. So now they're trying to say that they might do it. That doesn't seem correct, okay? The posts here say that the Red Cross won't accept plasma donations from people who have had the COVID vaccine. You're willing to put something in your body that is so untested that the FDA and Red Cross don't know if you can donate plasma. Yet me or not wanting to take it is irresponsible. This appears to have come from a viewer originally viewable here. So they're showing these posts, okay? And then they show that they have a screenshot of a genuine page. Okay, a genuine page on the Red Cross. So let's hit it. This is how crazy their fact check is. Okay? So they show them an actual screenshot from this, which is real. Okay? Which is real. And they're like, still wrong. Okay. Great. So guys, you know, that's just how the fact check game works. And that's why I went ahead and I found this interview from like a couple days ago. And as you can see, we're probably going to read it on the bottom. I kept it kind of an ultra low level. We'll turn it down if not to understand what he's saying. But here's where he reiterates the HIV part. And there's certain things I don't agree with him on. Okay, he ends up talking about Bill Gates at the end, and he says that Bill Gates is, you know, although all this is really bad, he's still trying to do good, right? Just like, again, it could be, you know, made in a lab, but we're certainly not talking bioweapon at this point, right? We're certainly not talking about it like that, and we're certainly not talking about it doing anything but leak out, right? And then we're certainly not going to do anything but put blame on a certain nation state, right? Because it could never be an outside operation. So, guys, only 50 thumbs up. Let's get 100 as we get this going.
Dans les années 2000, et ce laboratoire avait toute la...
So here he says he has laboratory expertise in molecular biology, right? And he's like, we know a natural course from the EDA treatment, artificial and pop, and I can wear you, I think, evidence, okay, convincing that it's partly artificial, then precisely will come back. And again, it's kind of like a broken English translation. Here he is. He's talking about last May. And he's saying it's just confirming it. He talks about Jean-Claude Perez. And they were looking for sequences, not only HIV, but also 2 places in the podium for malaria.
Justement, on va revenir sur ces 2 points. Tout d'abord, le SARS donc, serait échappé véritablement, d'après vous, du laboratoire. On peut dire ça comme ça.
So again, he's asking if it possibly escaped from the laboratory. Okay? So again, this must be a broken translation because obviously it doesn't work. But he goes, escaped, we don't know. It can be a girl to calculate. See, that's not obviously right. But this is where he basically says there's no doubt it was created.
Échappé, on ne sait pas. Ça peut être une fuite calculée, si on peut dire, ou un essai. Si vous voulez, là-dedans, je persiste à penser, ce que j'ai déjà dit au mois d'avril, c'est que ces chercheurs, on n'a pas les raisons de mettre en doute leur dire.
And tell them to get vaccines. See, he keeps talking about how he thinks it could be a variant of, or it was leaked out as a vaccine. They're working on a vaccine for HIV.
Chercher des vaccins contre le VIH, n'est-ce pas? Et le coronavirus était plutôt un vecteur, choisi comme un vecteur pour l'expression des protéines du VIH pour faire le vaccin.
See, he talks about the HIV protein to make the vaccine, so they choose a very virus.
Et donc ils ont choisi un virus très transmissible.
Transmissible, very transmissible, but innovative, that they passed.
Très transmissible, mais probablement pensé inoffensif.
Harmless, alas, the error to a malevolence at base I pose there.
Peut-être d'estimation que ce virus qui pouvait donc se transmettre très facilement d'homme à homme n'était pas dangereux, donnait un petit rhume, quelque chose comme ça, mais pas de maladie grave. Et les maladies graves sont quand même venues. Alors,
so he's talking about the possibility of, again, some vaccine subject gets a cold and then passes it on, and it's some kind of a mutation. Okay?
il y a une chose importante à savoir, c'est-à-dire dans la philosophie biologique, on pense toujours un peu comme au 19e siècle, c'est-à-dire une maladie, un agent infectieux, un virus ou une bactérie. Et on ne pense pas qu'il y a en face de nous une certaine intelligence, entre guillemets, intelligence des germes qui nous entourent. Et notamment, ils savent s'associer. Et donc, pour le cas du virus du sida, j'avais déjà émis l'hypothèse, je l'émets toujours d'ailleurs, qu'il y a un cofacteur infectieux, pour le moins une petite bactérie intracellulaire, qui favorise non seulement la réplication du VIH, mais ses effets immunosuppressifs.
And there it is. Immunosuppressive effects. And again, all this stuff talking about the possible immunoviruses that could happen. All right, so I want to jump to I think it's 11 minutes. And I think we can play a little bit of this. And we got a Rockfin tip. Jason Burmis, it doesn't even say anything. Thank you, Adam. I really appreciate that, brother. All right, let's see. And then we're going to end up going just to Rockfin, guys. So make sure you get that free account. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? We're going to Rockfin right now because he's going to ask him. Basically, he also talks about hydroxychloroquine as a treatment, other treatments that have been suppressed. He talks about the medical community, suppressing therapeutics, et cetera, stuff we really can't talk about on YouTube. That's his opinion. It's certainly not mine. I'm not making any claims. But thumbs the video up, subscribe and share. Let people know about the channel. Go make the free Rockfin account. Follow me there.